Let me just try as best I can the magnitude of these headlines. I spent an hour this morning reading this one article and following the links, wishing it wasn't true. This news is so incredible that there should be anyone who loves their children. I've got to just give you the public service announcement. There needs to be, well, it's too late now, an evacuation from the West Coast. And it shows you how humans will just sit there and kill themselves to live. And I knew the numbers when I had top radiologists and nuclear experts on at the time. I knew the numbers a year and a half, 2 years ago. How long ago was Fukushima? And I knew that there would be quite a bit of radiation coming down over Texas, actually. But nothing compared to the West Coast. And, of course, it turned out that the federal government knew within 3 months, and it didn't come out for over a year, that all of the tuna coming from the Pacific, the bluefin, the yellowfin, that migrates back and forth between Japan and the West Coast of the United States, had off-the-charts levels of different radioactive isotopes in it. In some cases, hundreds of times what they said was safe. So they just raised the level in fish for what they say is safe radiation-wise. And there have been mass deaths all over Japan. It's come out even in their media, but they just keep it quiet. The butterflies are heavily mutated. Most of the fish are mutated now. The frogs are mutated all over the country of Japan. Conservatively, the 6 reactors, 5 of them being heavily damaged, 4 of them completely melting down and exploding, in one case shooting fuel rods 2 miles. I went and looked up the Mach 3 reactor, looked up its diagrams, blew up the video, said within 12 hours of it happening. That is not just the containment rods stored on top, the spent fuel rods, over 500,000 stored at the facility, 200,000 on top the Mach 3. It was number 3 reactor, MOX reactor, plutonium-uranium reactor, as bad as it gets. It exploded in a mushroom cloud, and then they picked up the isotopes that meant that it had gone critical and actually had a chain reaction. And I had top European Union and British experts, like, let's get Dr. Busby back on about this immediately, by the way. And, I mean, they picked up the isotopes there. It was picked up in the radiology journals, the journals of, that break down the radiation, that they picked up that fission had happened. Chain reaction had happened. And children all over the country are just dropping dead on the playground. Their teeth are falling out. They're having bleeding out of their intestines. All the signs, all the fast-growing cells are dying. And the children just have cardiac arrest and fall dead. And then they're just mopped up quietly, and the Japanese soldier through it. Well, here's the new report. 1/3 of U.S. West Coast children hit with thyroid problems following Fukushima. And all I said was, please protect your thyroid, and I was called a conspiracy theorist. And now these children, many of them, will die. I will get back into this incredible report that, again, I spent an hour this morning poring over, fact-checking, and I already knew these numbers were coming out about 6 months ago in a preliminary research. But again, the Fukushima reactor meltdown happened in 2011, in March of 2011. Wow, hard to believe it's already been 2 years. And milk levels all over the country spiked, in some cases hundreds of times the safe radiation level. In places like Connecticut, it all depends where the trade winds come back down in the lower atmosphere. But all universities all over California, from Berkeley to San Jose College to the colleges up in Alaska. That's where within weeks, the currents from Japan's a lot closer to Alaska than it is to the west coast of Canada and the west coast of the U.S. The seals dying, people's hair falling out, the air traffic controllers' hair falling out, the people that work on the aircraft, their hair falling out, radiation poisoning. And so what did the Environmental Protection Agency do? And I'm going to do a report on this tonight showing all these documents. They're in there putting it together. I'm going to be on the Nightly News as a guest tonight, breaking this down, 7 o'clock Central, and then we'll cover it more tomorrow with Mike Adams when he sits in. It's just, this is such a big deal. Report, 1/3 of U.S. West Coast children hit with thyroid problems following Fukushima. And that's in the Journal of Pediatrics, Radiation and Public Health Project. And also information out of UC Berkeley. And it's got all the recordings of what happened And it is just absolutely devastating. Again, with children, the thyroid particularly absorbs the radioactive isotopes, and they should have been saying everybody's got to go on TheraSafe. I know Homeland Security on the West Coast ordered it immediately and went on it. I mean, within days of Fukushima happening, Homeland Security ordered it and ordered its people on the West Coast to go on it. And that came out. But they weren't going to give you the memo. Just like when the dust is full of asbestos, concrete powder, pulverized glass, there's 6, 7, 8, 10 feet of it. Most of Lower Manhattan had at least a foot of it. And you've got all the tsunami wreckage that took about a year to get across there. They didn't warn anybody. I mean, that had a lot of plutonium on it that takes billions of years to retrograde and to go into its half-life. And it all came right across the Pacific, the northern Pacific, right into the West Coast. Some of it also hit northern Mexico, but not as much as, I mean, northern California up is just off the charts. People are delusional. They just think, oh, we can make an excuse for it. I mean, look at this. Still think that Fukushima nuclear meltdown of 2011 never affected the United States public? Young children born in the United States West Coast, this is up on INFOWARS.com, right in the line of fire for radioactive isotopes, have been found to be 28% more likely to develop congenital hyperthyroidism than infants born the years before the incident. And that's just one indicator, folks. Same thing. Now, again, I said earlier, I said, do you know how much worse Fukushima is than Chernobyl? And then I never gave the answer because I was scanning my brain for it and thinking of what Dr. Busby broke down and what the other nuclear private commissions broke down. Anywhere between 7 and 100 times, depending on how you break it down with computer models, because it's still belching the stuff out, and there's more of it coming across the ocean, and more of it, the really heavy stuff that fell quicker, onto all the rubble and onto all the garbage and onto all the tsunami wreckage, that it just goes in a big circular vacuum cleaner around and 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 around the west coast of North America. I mean, it's horrible. And this is in the Journal of Pediatrics, Radiation and Public Health Project, UC Berkeley. I mean, I can just keep going over all this for you. And again, this comes out, it was first published in Natural Society. Report, third of U.S. West Coast children hit with thyroid problems following Fukushima. Now, here's the deal. 92%, in fact, show that to folks. There's 420-something operating reactors that are for energy. There's a couple hundred other smaller ones that we know of. 2 of them are in Austin that nobody seems to know about. Oh, there's the U.S. NRC, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Ann Coulter, you know, she says the Japanese ought to be thankful for the radiation over there because it's, quote, good for you. Yeah, I guess if they shoot targeted radiation at some cancer, it's been shown to slow it down. The problem is that all my family that's been cooked with targeted radiation, it starts leaking so bad in their brain or in their pancreas that kills them. Because, you fry a bunch of meat in there and it starts leaking. Report, third of West Coast children hit with thyroid problems following Fukushima. The study followed children born in California, Alaska, Washington, Hawaii, Oregon, between the first and 16 weeks after a horrific meltdown at Fukushima back in 2011. Published in the Open Journal of Pediatrics by researchers affiliated with the Radiation and Public Health Project, the information further lends credence to previous documentation regarding the way in which radioactive fallout ended up on U.S. soil. Well, yeah, we've got the Environmental Protection Agency raised radioactive isotopes between 25 and 2,500 times, depending on what isotope it was. Oh, you're worried about radiation that they're finding in the milk and the produce, all the stuff that hits the ground. Cows eat grass, it bioaccumulates in them, it's excreted in their mammary glands, their udders. I know that's a conspiracy theory, but that's where the milk comes from, is cows' udders. They eat grass, and then you drink that, and it bioaccumulates. Same thing with cabbage, lettuce, root vegetables, rutabagas, things like that, onions. So, I mean, my wife was in Europe when Chernobyl happened. And for a year, she was in Italy then. Her dad was a diplomat with the agriculture department. They had only frozen vegetables flown in from the United States and other areas in Asia, and only powdered milk, which said it was the old girls' school they went to at the time. And all over Europe, the children did not drink milk, and the adults said, well, we don't care. It doesn't affect us. Our tissue isn't as fast-growing. See, fast-growing cells are really jacked by radiation. That's why when Japan got A-bombed, most adults didn't die from radiation poisoning. It was little kids. Because they got fast-growing cells, folks, and it fries fast-growing cells. And so she told me about that. I went and looked it up, and sure enough, found TV shows from the time, 60 Minutes and stuff reporting on Chernobyl a year later about Europeans have taken the precautions, and it showed the plume that went into Northern Europe and Southern Europe and Western Europe and Eastern Europe, and it showed it there in Ukraine, and it showed what it did, and they estimate 1 million people have died from complications, and they've got the Chernobyl necklace, and they've got hundreds of square miles around Chernobyl that nobody can even go into. And the plants all grow weird from it. And conservatively, the lowest estimates are that Fukushima was 7 times Chernobyl. People are like, Alex, be a little, what about the Rangers? What about, how are the Rangers going to do this year? Okay, fine, the Rangers. What about the NFL? I mean, what do you think is going to happen with the NFL draft? I mean, look, I could care less, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not because I don't like football. I get the fun of betting your buddies $20 and sitting around drinking beer and, eating fried chicken and watching a football game. I get it. I've done it. The point is there's radiation raining down on us. Japan is having massive problems, and it's all just swept under the rug, and so is everything else. The tyranny, the drones, the oppression, the sodium fluoride in the water. All of this is just swept under the rug, and the establishment itself has become completely delusional. And the guys have pulled up some statistics here on peer-reviewed national organization of local, state, and federal employees has access to internal EPA emails, claims that the new standards of results are nearly 1,000-fold increases for exposure amounts, 900 to 3,000 to 100,000-fold hike of exposure of iodine 131 and almost 25,000 rise for exposure of radioactive nickel 63 in drinking water. See, I love how everything becomes a rumor. I saw a Washington Blogs article the other day that had a link to a video, FEMA video from my film Road to Tyranny, that said it is claimed that FEMA teaches that the Founding Fathers were terrorists when it's real footage shot by a firefighter at a law enforcement event with FEMA demonizing it, and I show the training manuals, and it's on record, but it becomes a rumor. And then, see, I told the guys, I said, go find the Environmental Protection Agency and the Food and Drug Administration. They were involved. It's on their website. I know this is a year and a half old, but this is on, we wrote articles about it. Just type in INFOWARS.com after it. See, that's some site. And I told the guys, I find that they're doing a great job, but they find something where someone says, internal emails people claim showed this. It's not a rumor. It's not a rumor the Gulf of Tonkin was staged. It was in the San Diego Herald Tribune 6 months after it happened when the commanding officers of the ships got off and said it was all a lie, we weren't attacked. But no one ever had the newspaper article, so it became a rumor until they declassified it in 2004 that it was all staged. So good job finding that, guys. But let me give you the exact headline. Hold on. Just add an INFOWARS.com behind it and click web because it'll be old. Type in government raises radiation, safe radiation levels after Fukushima. INFOWARS.com, and then it will go to our articles by Paul Watson, Kurt Nemo, and others, linking directly to the Environmental Protection Agency and the Food and Drug Administration. But the first one was the Environmental Protection Agency.
Live, this is One for the Record. I'm Diana, and today is April 4th, 2013. And here are your news updates for today. I guess my lips are not going to match my face. That's fine. I don't care. Alrighty then. So here's your news updates for today. You should have just seen the Alex Jones show. I got that off of Smilky the Clown 1 channel. And heads up, if you're on the West Coast, that's where I'm from, California, very bad. Very bad. You stay there and work, or you can try to get out of the line of Fukushima. Alrighty then, that's all I can say. I think people need to move east and move south and move to South America if you can. That's the only thing I got to say about it. Maybe you can detox with some zeolite. Look that up, zeolite. Z-E-O-L-I-T-E, I believe it is, at the health food stores, or Dr. Bill Deagle at NutriMedical sells it. But you're going to need a detox. You're going to need to detox if you're on the West Coast. You can't eat any of the fish. Forget it now. Anything that comes out of that Pacific Ocean, as Dr. Deagle called it, the plutonium sea, you can't eat it anymore. And check your pet food. Don't get pet food with a bunch of fish in it. Because if they can't sell it, I'm sure they'll try to find a way of putting it in the pet food. Alright, moving on. I have to sit back so you can see me. Let's see. Let's first go to the Extinction Protocol 2012 and beyond. U.S. deploys hazardous chemical unit in South, intercepts communique warning of missile launch. Hey, heads up. Also, China reports 5th death from H7N9. Mystery deepens on how virus is spreading. Massive seafloor craters found in waters off New Zealand. Heads up. Heads up. Also, fuse lit. North Korea ratifies nuclear attack protocol on U.S. Moves missile to East Coast to reach South. Heads up. Alrighty then. Be prepared for anything. You gotta get that zeolite, I believe. Heads up on everything. Let's move on to let me see if I can get to the watchers watching the world. Remember, April 29th, keep your ears and eyes opened on that. April 29th is going to be disclosure on, I believe it's Roswell disclosure on Roswell. All right. Let's see here. National Internet tax mandate is in place to cripple the online marketplace. Okay, we've read all this before from them. Nothing new. All right. E&E News. Energy news. We'll first go into the U.S. New official flyover shows intense oil sheen around giant Louisiana sinkhole. Also, release of 100 pounds of hydrogen sulfide caused mystery odor in New Orleans. Report actual amount is far more, and it's in quotes. Alright, heads up on that. That's toxic. If you're in that area, I would get out of there. Another place to get away from. Not much left. Guess everybody has to move east. Now, back when in March 22nd to 23rd on the E&E News, I saw this a while back. I guess I got smashed with a bunch of cesium. Cesium, Melbourne, Florida was the highest amount in the world that was picked up for from Fukushima, the cesium that came across. So heads up on that. And the iodine 131. Oh, the marker of Fukushima. This was back in 2011. Alrighty then, here we go. What else do we have? Also today, official methane in soil near giant sinkhole at 100% of lower explosive limit. Biogenic gas may be getting pushed up to surface. Heads up, you got to get out of there. I got your backs, I'm telling you now. Get out of there, and you should get away from the West Coast also if you're over there. West Coast and anywhere near that Louisiana sinkhole. Everybody should go away from there. Go anywhere else. Just get away. Widespread mystery odor reported across New Orleans area. Oil, natural gas smell suspected. Coast Guard investigating. That was yesterday. All right, moving on. Japan, Fukushima. Video strangeness. Happened to me after Fukushima explosion. Radioactive man's body still 300% over background levels. Well, yesterday, alarm triggered at Fukushima. Daiichi workers ordered to pull on full face masks. You should be wearing those anyway. That stuff's cumulative. It's not going away. My goodness. Alrighty then. Let's close. Let me stop this. Let's see here. Well, I guess my voice isn't matching my face. It's running real slow. I don't know why. But it's the eve of Friday. It's Thursday. So, let me hold my hand up there for a while. It's 4 days down, which you're not going to see. It's like a frozen picture. There it is. 4 days down. 1 to go. 1 to go before the weekend. I'll see you again tomorrow on the flip side. Sorry for this running so slow. I don't know why it is, but it's not my computer. Alrighty then. Take care. Stay safe. And I'll see you on the flip side tomorrow. Stay tuned. I'm running a thing on the sinkholes, and you can actually see what Erin Brockovich looks like. She says to get out. And then also, I'll put Kevin Blanche at the end. Take care.
Finally, some honesty. Finally, some honesty.
People living in Bayou Corn are ready to take action.
For us, it's destroyed. They destroyed our family life. Our little piece of the American dream is gone.
You know, where is it you want them to live? What is it you want them to do? You are displacing them. You are creating fear amongst them. Ease that for them, and it's not happening.
Environmental activist Erin Brockovich and her team of lawyers gave the community a new game plan to help deal with the sinkhole situation.
They are being told this is dangerous. Get out. And they need to get out. That land, those homes, it's useless now.
Legal action is the next step.
Not going to be any quick answer for them, but it is time for them to decide to take some action, initiate, unfortunately, some litigation because the company isn't doing the right thing by them.
The lawyers said it could take up to 2 years before this case goes to trial. They hope to settle before then, but for residents, they say that's too long.
My heart stopped beating. I can't even imagine staying in this dilemma for 2 years.
Look how long it's been so far. I mean, this is slow processes and nothing's going to happen overnight.
We're not the ones that's going to hold this up. It will be Texas brine.
Brockovich says going forward, the community has to come together if they want to win. And the community agrees.
We're pretty strong right now together as a community. And I believe if we stick together, we can see, we'll see numbers. We'll see, it'll pretty much be a good outcome.
law, California law, United States federal law, NRC to enforce. By law, have to have somewhere to put the cement fuel rods. They promised us they would have the cement fuel rods taken care of by 1976, then by 1982, then by 1985, then 1991. It's 2013, you still store them on site.